Most people fail long before they ever begin, not because they lack talent, not because they lack opportunity, but because they talk too much. They announce their dreams to people who don't believe in them. They expose their plans to minds too small to understand their vision. And slowly, silently, the world talks them out of what they were born to do. So today, I want you to hear me clearly. Never tell people what you do. Let the results break the silence for you. There is a power that comes from privacy, a strength that comes from silence, a force that grows inside you when you stop explaining yourself to people who were never meant to understand. You don't owe the world your plans. You don't owe them your strategy. You don't owe them your dreams. Because the more you talk, the more energy you leak, and the smaller your dreams become. Success does not grow in public. Success grows in the dark. In discipline, in faith, in consistency, in the quiet places where no applause exists. While they wonder what you're doing, you build. While they gossip, you grind. While they doubt, you evolve. People can't ruin what they don't know. They can't attack what they can't see. They can't interfere with what you keep sacred. So protect your vision. Guard your progress. Move in silence, and let your work echo louder than your words ever could. This is your mission. To build a life based on discipline, not validation. Faith, not approval. Action, not announcement. Stop explaining. Stop broadcasting. Stop seeking permission from people who have never done what you're trying to do. Just work. Just build. Just rise. And when the world finally sees you winning, they'll ask, "Where did this come from?" And you will smile because only you know the battles you fought in silence. Move quietly. Win loudly. If this message touched your heart, hit subscribe. Join a community of people who move with purpose, ambition, discipline, and faith. Let's build a mindset that doesn't seek attention, but demands respect through action. Silence protects your dreams from doubt and negativity, because the moment you speak your vision out loud, you expose it to a world that often responds with fear, insecurity, jealousy, or disbelief. And even when people don't mean to hurt you, their doubts plant seeds inside your mind that slowly weaken your confidence. And that quiet inner voice that once said, "I can do this," starts questioning itself, wondering if maybe they're right, wondering if maybe you're aiming too high, dreaming too big, reaching too far. And this is why the most powerful dreams are the ones you guard, the ones you keep close to your heart like something sacred, something growing, something not ready to face the wind yet. Because dreams are fragile in the beginning. They're like sparks that need protection before they can become fire. And when you talk too early, when you reveal everything you're working on, you give people the chance to blow those sparks out before they ever ignite. But when you stay silent, when you focus on the work instead of the words, your dream becomes stronger, more rooted, more unshakable. And you stop seeking validation from people who could never see the world the way you do. You stop handing your power to opinions that don't matter. You stop letting small minds shrink a vision meant for a much bigger life. And in that silence, you build confidence, you build clarity, you build momentum, because every step you take is fueled by your own belief instead of the approval of others. And when negativity can't find a way in, when doubt has no doorway, when jealousy has no information to feed on, your dream grows untouched, unbothered, unharmed, protected by the strength of your silence. And by the time the world sees it, it's already too strong for their doubt to destroy. Talking too much drains the energy you need to execute, because every time you speak about your plans, you release a part of the drive that was meant to push you forward. And instead of using that fire to take action, you waste it on explaining, convincing, or defending what you haven't even built yet. And this constant talking creates an illusion of progress, a false sense of accomplishment that tricks your brain into thinking you've already done something meaningful, when in reality, nothing has moved, nothing has changed, nothing has been created. And the more you describe your dreams, the more satisfaction you feel without earning it, leaving you with less fuel to actually begin, because action requires intensity, focus, and emotional energy, and every unnecessary conversation steals a small piece of that power. turning your ambition into empty talk, your plans into entertainment, your dreams into stories that never materialize. And when you talk too much, you also open the door to opinions you didn't ask for, opinions that can discourage you, distract you, or confuse you, pulling your mind in directions it was never meant to go, and suddenly, the energy you need to build is tied up in explaining yourself, debating your choices, or trying to justify your vision to people who have no stake in your future. And instead of using your strength to climb, you use it to respond, to argue, to reassure others, draining yourself of the mental and emotional resources required for real progress. And that's why the most successful people protect their energy by protecting their silence, choosing to build in private, choosing to let their work speak, choosing to save every ounce of internal fire for the path ahead. Because when you stop talking and start executing, your energy stops leaking and starts creating, turning ambition into momentum and momentum into results. Real success is built in private, not announced in public, because the early stages of any dream are fragile, unfinished, and easily influenced by the noise of the world. And when you expose that early process to the eyes and opinions of others, you risk interrupting the very growth that needs silence to strengthen. And this is why the greatest transformations happen when no one is watching. When you're alone with your thoughts, your effort, your failures, and your relentless attempts to get better. Because success is not the moment you show up with the final result. It is the countless unseen hours that shape you into the person capable of achieving it. And when you build in private, you remove the pressure to impress, the temptation to rush, and the fear of being judged for slow progress, which allows you to grow at your own pace, make mistakes without shame, learn without an audience, and develop the resilience that only comes from private struggle. And this privacy becomes a shield that protects your focus, allowing you to commit fully to the work instead of worrying about how it looks to others, giving you freedom to be imperfect, to experiment, to take risks that you might avoid if the world were watching. And as you work in silence, something powerful happens inside you, because you start doing things for purpose, not praise, for growth, not validation, and for mastery, not applause. And slowly, the private work compounds, the consistency builds, the discipline becomes a habit, and your progress becomes undeniable. And by the time the world finally sees what you've been building, it's no longer a fragile idea that can be shaken, but a solid reality shaped by dedication and protected by silence, proving that true success is not announced. It is revealed only after it can no longer be ignored. Discipline, faith, and consistency thrive in silence, because when you stop announcing your intentions to the world, you remove the pressure to perform for others and instead begin performing for yourself. And this shift creates a deeper, more personal form of commitment that isn't driven by attention or applause, but by the quiet agreement you make with your own soul. And in that private space, you discover what discipline truly feels like. Not the kind you show others to earn praise, but the kind that wakes you up early, that keeps you focused when no one is there to hold you accountable, that pushes you through those moments of doubt when quitting feels easier than continuing. And in silence, your faith strengthens, because you are no longer depending on external approval to validate your journey. You begin trusting the process, trusting your effort, trusting the unseen progress happening beneath the surface. And this faith becomes a steady force that keeps you moving even when the results haven't shown up yet, because you start believing in the power of small steps, invisible progress, and the unseen hand guiding you forward. And as discipline and faith grow, consistency becomes natural, because you're no longer performing for the world. You're building a life aligned with your values, aligned with your vision, aligned with your purpose, and consistency is born from that alignment, from doing the work, not because someone is watching, but because you refuse to break the promise you made to yourself. And silence protects that promise, shielding you from distractions, comparison, and unnecessary noise, allowing you to focus on your path without being pulled into the expectations or judgments of others. And with every silent day of effort, every quiet moment of faith, every small act of discipline, You shape a stronger version of yourself. And that version doesn't need applause to keep going because the real transformation is happening within, where no one else can see, but where everything begins. People can't attack or sabotage what they don't know, because the moment you reveal your plans, your goals, or your next move, you give the world access to the very things that matter most to you, and not everyone who hears your vision will want to see it succeed. And sometimes, the people who smile at you are the same ones who quietly hope you never rise above them. And when you speak too openly, you unintentionally invite jealousy, criticism, discouragement, and even sabotage from people who do not have the capacity to understand your direction or the maturity to celebrate your progress. And some will question your abilities, some will plant seeds of doubt, some will disguise their fear as advice, and some will quietly work against you, slowing you down without you ever realizing it. And this is why silence is such a powerful form of protection, because when people don't know what you're building, they can't interfere with it, they can't attack what they don't see, and they can't break something that hasn't been revealed to them. And when you keep your goals close to your heart, you create a barrier around your focus, a shield that guards your energy from those who would drain it through negativity or disbelief. And this doesn't mean you distrust everyone. It simply means you value your future enough to protect it from unnecessary exposure. Because the truth is, not everyone deserves access to your vision. Not everyone has earned the right to hear your dreams. And not everyone has the emotional depth to handle your ambition. And when you stay quiet, you keep control. You decide what the world sees and what it doesn't. You keep your progress safe from opinions that were never meant to shape your path. And you keep your momentum strong because you're no longer wasting time explaining yourself or defending your choices. And silence also removes the pressure to impress, allowing you to grow, fail, learn, and evolve without the weight of other people's expectations. And this freedom is necessary because every dream requires space to unfold. And that space quickly disappears when too many eyes are watching, too many voices are commenting, too many doubts are being thrown at something still in its early, vulnerable stages. And when you choose silence, you choose strength, you choose control, you choose peace, and you choose to let your results speak at the end, when no one can stop what you've already built, because by then, it will be too solid, too real, too powerful for anyone's negativity to destroy. Your mission is to seek progress, not approval, because the moment you start chasing validation, you hand your power to the opinions of people who don't live your life, who don't carry your responsibilities, who don't feel your dreams burning inside your chest. And when you rely on their approval, your motivation becomes fragile, easily shaken, easily broken, because it depends on reactions instead of purpose, and approval is unpredictable, inconsistent, and often given by people who don't even understand the direction you're moving in. And when your focus shifts toward impressing others, you slowly disconnect from the deeper reason you started. Your goals become blurry, your authenticity fades, and you begin shaping your life around what you think others will applaud, instead of what you truly believe in. And this is why seeking progress must become your mission. Because progress doesn't lie. Progress doesn't depend on applause. Progress doesn't disappear when people stop paying attention. Progress is deeply personal and completely yours. And when you commit to improvement instead of validation, you free yourself from the emotional roller coaster of opinions, from the fear of judgment, from the pressure to be perfect. And this freedom allows you to experiment, to fail, to learn, to grow without the fear of being watched. And every small step you take becomes a victory. Not because someone approved it, but because you know you're becoming better, stronger, wiser, more capable. And when your motivation is internal, nothing can stop you, because you no longer need encouragement to move. You no longer need praise to feel worthy. You no longer need recognition to stay disciplined. And this shift in focus transforms you from someone who performs for the world into someone who performs for your own evolution. And over time, that internal drive becomes a force that makes you unstoppable, because while others chase attention, you're chasing mastery. While they look sideways, you're looking forward. While they focus on being seen, you focus on becoming someone worth noticing. And when you build your life on progress instead of approval, Your confidence grows from truth, not compliments, from action, not expectation, from discipline, not ego, and eventually the world will notice. They always do. But by then, you won't need their approval, because your mission will have already shaped you into someone who doesn't chase validation, someone who creates it through who they become. Action will always speak louder than explanations, because no matter how passionately you describe your dreams, how clearly you outline your plans, or how convincingly you try to justify your goals, words alone will never carry the same weight as the results you create. And deep down, you already know this, because the world is full of people who talk, people who promise, people who declare big visions, yet never take the steps required to make those visions real. And when you fall into the trap of explaining yourself instead of executing, you begin to substitute movement with conversation, replacing progress with discussion. And this slowly disconnects you from the reality that success is built through consistent action, not through convincing others. And when you act instead of talk, something powerful happens inside you, because you shift from imagining the life you want to actually building it brick by brick. And every action you take becomes a silent message to the world, a message that doesn't need approval or applause, a message that cannot be debated or denied, because results are undeniable and action makes you real. It makes your intentions visible. It transforms your goals from ideas floating in your mind into outcomes you can touch, measure, and prove. And when you rely on action instead of explanation, you also protect your focus, because you're no longer wasting your energy defending your path to people who don't share your vision or understand your purpose, and you stop needing to justify why you're choosing a different route, why you're sacrificing comfort, why you're pushing yourself beyond what others consider normal. And instead of trying to be understood, you put that energy into becoming someone who cannot be ignored, and your work begins to speak for you, louder than any speech, louder than any promise, louder than any attempt to convince the world you're serious. And over time, action builds a reputation, a presence, a credibility that words alone could never create. Because people trust what they see, not what they hear. And when they see your growth, your consistency, your discipline, your improvement, your evolution, they begin to respect you without you ever needing to demand it. And while others argue, you build. While they doubt, you progress. While they talk about what they might do someday, you're already doing it. And this is why action separates dreamers from achievers. Because talkers use their words to feel good for a moment, to impress for a moment, to comfort themselves for a moment. But achievers use their actions to change their lives permanently. And when you commit to action, you become unstoppable, because progress becomes your language, discipline becomes your voice, results become your proof, and you no longer worry about who believes in you or who understands you, because the life you build will communicate everything they need to know without you saying a single word. Move quietly and let your results make the noise, because the world doesn't need another person broadcasting their intentions. It needs people who follow through, people whose work speaks so loudly that their presence is felt without introduction. And when you choose to move quietly, you take back the power that so many give away by seeking attention before they've earned it. And in that silence, you create an environment where your growth can happen without pressure, without comparison, without interference, allowing you to evolve naturally, steadily, and authentically. And the more quietly you move, the more you learn to trust yourself instead of depending on the reactions of others. Because silence teaches you patience, it teaches you resilience, it teaches you to appreciate progress that no one else sees. And this invisible progress is the strongest kind, because it is built on discipline rather than praise. And when you remove the need to be noticed, your heart becomes more focused, your mind becomes sharper, and your steps become more intentional. And as you continue building in private, something powerful begins to happen within you, because every silent victory strengthens your self-belief. Every quiet milestone becomes a reminder that you are capable, consistent, and committed. And these private wins transform you from the inside out, long before the world ever sees the external results. And moving quietly also protects you from the noise of negativity, Because people can't criticize what they can't see. They can't doubt what they don't know. They can't interfere with what you're not announcing. And this invisible path becomes your shield, allowing you to navigate challenges without carrying the weight of outside expectations. And in silence, you learn the beauty of delayed gratification, the art of building something meaningful without rushing, without forcing, without seeking instant validation. And this internal transformation matters, because when the time comes for your results to be seen, they won't just be impressive, they'll be undeniable. They'll speak with a force that no amount of talking could ever produce. And when your results speak for you, people listen differently, because results demand respect. Results silence doubters. Results destroy excuses. Results change conversations. And while others spend their time proving themselves with words, you will be proving yourself with achievements. And the truth is, the loudest people are rarely the most successful, because those who truly build, who truly rise, who truly elevate their lives, understand that attention is a byproduct, not a goal, and that the greatest power is in staying focused while the world is distracted, staying committed while others are inconsistent, staying humble while others seek applause. And this quiet strength becomes a weapon, because nothing is more intimidating than someone who moves with intention, discipline, and purpose without needing recognition to fuel them. And when you finally rise, when your results appear, when your work becomes visible, it will be clear why you moved in silence, because your success will be too solid to question, too powerful to dismiss, too real to ignore. And by then, you won't need to speak, you won't need to explain, you won't need to convince anyone of who you are or what you're capable of, because your results will speak for you in a voice louder than anything you could have said, proving that the quietest builders often become the ones who make the biggest impact through the undeniable power of what they create. In the end, your life won't be defined by what you talked about, but by what you built, by the battles you fought in silence, by the discipline you carried when no one was watching, and by the results that rose from your quiet dedication. So protect your vision, honor your path, move with intention, move with humility, and move with purpose, because when you let your work speak for you, your success becomes a story no one can interrupt, rewrite, or deny, and in that moment, the world will finally understand what you always knew deep inside, that real power doesn't shout. It simply shows up and changes everything.